Joy is another intentionally vulnerable Linux VM that we're going to hack in order to get root access. It's a part of the Digialworld.local series that we're going to conquer. So double-click the OVF file. I'm just going to name it Digialworld.local joy. Now click import. Once that's done importing, just right-click, click on settings, and make sure that we have the appropriate settings for the network configuration here. We do not. We want this NAT to be host only. It's fine. Click OK. Click Start. Once that is booted up, go to your Kali Linux VM. First step, as always, find the IP address. So open up your terminal. netdiscover-i eth1. Okay, we have the IP address. On to the port scan and service enumeration with Nmap. So Control C. Nmap-A IP address. As you can see, we have a big attack surface here. We have FTP over port 21, SSH over port 22, SMTP over port 25, and HTTP over port 80, to name a few. So, let's see here. The first thing I want to check is FTP. It has anonymous FTP login allowed, as the script scan has uncovered for us. So let's check that out first. Just going to create a new tab here. And we will go to that IP address over FTP. We can get anonymous login. So just anonymous and click enter. There we go. Let's check out what's in here. First, let's check out the download directory. We got nothing in there. I'm just going to go back one directory and we will check out the upload directory. Okay, so we have a bunch of files here. Project underscore. Looks like potential usernames here. And we have a file named directory. So we also have one named reminder. I will go ahead and get the directory file. Let's check that out. Just download it, get directory. Now I'm going to exit out of this and check it out on our local file system to see what's in it. All right, so what we have here is a text file that shows a directory listing for a username Patrick. Or, yeah, Patrick's directory. That's exactly what it is. So, say information of this machine. It's telling us what, yeah, Linux Joy, version of Debian, and it's probably Patrick's home folder, I would imagine. So, a bunch of files here. The one, looks like maybe a hash here. Text files. I see a file named version control. That could be useful. Tell us the versions of software that's being used on the operating system. So this could be in his home folder, like I said. Let's try to grab that using the technique we used in our previous lecture. Try to get that over Telnet. So show you how to do that right now. Let's clear this out real quick. Telnet, IP address of Joy, and port 21. Okay, we're connected, so I'm going to type in site cpfr, and we're going to try the home directory of Patrick. So /home/Patrick /version control. That's the file that we just saw in that text file that we got out of FTP. So, all right. Says that the file is there. So we're going to copy it to the FTP location. So site cpto/home/ftp/upload/version control. Okay, the copy has been successful. Let's go back to FTP and try to grab that file. Same thing as before, anonymous login. All right. So here it is, the upload file that we put it in. So cd upload. There we go. There's the version control file that we just copied to this directory. So let's get that. Okay, quitting out of FTP. And I'm going to concatenate that version control file that we just downloaded. All right. Version control of external facing services. So we have Apache, Dropbear SSH, ProFTPD, and Samba. It shows us the versions of each one of those. All right. We should switch to OpenSSH and upgrade to ProFTPD. Note that we have some other configurations of the machine. So they changed the web root to this here. That's something we should definitely know for further exploitation later. All right, trying to perform some simple bash scripting. All right. Based on the information that was provided to us, they want to upgrade to ProFTPD, so there must be something wrong with this version. So I'm going to just copy that, and I'm going to go over to Google and see if there are any publicly known exploits for that version of FTP. So just open up a web browser. I'm just going to paste that right in there and type in exploit. So ProFTPD version exploit. And I see that there are several that are publicly known. Here's the one that we just used, the file copy exploit. I'll show it to you real quick. See exactly what we just did to get the directory file and the directory file was already there. Then we got the version control file using that exploit. So see a remote command execution exploit. That's what we want. We want to be able to access the system. So here we go. We got this exploit.py standalone exploit. Let's get that. And yeah, I'll just going to clone it real quick. So git clone and then the URL that's provided right here. Now go to that directory that was just created. I have that exploit.py file. So just type in Python exploit.py. See what kind of syntax they want. All right, so they want the host, which is the IP address, the port, which is port 21, and the path, which they've supplied to us right here in the version control file. So we have everything we need for this exploit. Just going to type in Python exploit.py again, and the host, which is the IP address. Oops. Specify that switch there. Host. And then we have the port of 21 and the path, which is right here. Okay. Very quickly, they say it has been exploited, and we can get our backdoor right here, which should give us a web shell. Let's check that out real quick. I'm just going to right-click that, open link. All right. So we need to supply a parameter here in the URL to execute commands. We can get that information by looking at the Python code. I'm just going to go back to the terminal and look at that exploit.py file. I see right away that it is using the CMD parameter, and that's how they verified it was working, by executing the whoami command and seeing if it worked. So let's go back up to the web browser, and I'll just type in $CMD equals ID, and that's how we're going to see if it works manually. Yes, it does. We have the results of the ID command right here. As you may have guessed, we now need to use a reverse shell payload so we can get an interactive shell going. So I'm just going to open up a new tab, type in nc-nlvp, use port 443. Now that we have that going, I'm just going to open up another tab and show you the reverse shell payload that we're going to be using. So here it is. And you're going to have to use the correct IP address for your Kali Linux local IP interface. So we got ifconfig here. That's how you find it. Here it is. Should be under eth1 if you're using the VM supplied with the course. I'll just replace that. And we're going to copy that payload here and paste it right here after CMD equals. And that should give us our shell. Let's go back to our netcat shell. There it is. Perfect. All right, so let's just see what we have in here. We have our backdoor.php file that we created, and I see OSSec. We already knew about that from looking at the directory information we fought from the file that we downloaded. So, all right, I see some potentially interesting stuff here. I see one thing that sticks out, Patrick Secrets of Joy. So let's check that out. Oh, okay. So credentials for Joy, Patrick, Apollo, and some numbers. And then we have root. How the heck do I know what the root password is? All right. So just record those and see what works. Let's log in as Patrick real quick. So I'm just going to type in su Patrick. Okay, so we do not have the correct terminal access. So let's just use this Python one-liner here, spawn a TTY shell. Hopefully now it'll work. So su Patrick. All right, here we go. I'm just going to copy this password here. All right, so that worked. Let's see. Okay, never mind. Let's try sudo-l. We have sudo privileges on this home Patrick script test file. So let's just type in sudo and specify that file path. See what we get. Okay, so it supposedly changed permissions of this test file to 777. Let me see if that's the case. Just take a look. I can view this. All right, permission denied. Anyway, so we know that this is a location where we have sudo access. And if you recall, with a raw telnet connection to port 21, we can upload files and copy them to whatever location we like. So we can copy a malicious script to this location and potentially elevate our privileges to root. So let's try that out real quick. I'm just going to create another terminal here, another tab. I'm just going to make a file named test. Very simple 2-line shell script here. Just trying to spawn a bin bash so we can get a root shell going. All right, so next is we're just going to FTP into Joy, anonymous login, and we're going to put the file all right, there it is. Actually, we should put in the upload directory. So cd upload, put test. All right, there it is. Now let's go ahead and copy that file into the location where we have sudo access, like I said earlier. So I'm just going to quit out of FTP, and we're going to use that raw telnet connection to the IP of Joy over port 21. Site CPFR, home FTP, upload test. That's the file that we just created, the bash script. And we have the copy command. Good. Ready for destination. So copy to home Patrick script test. That's the place where we can sudo copy successful. So let's quit out of that and go back to our other tab here. So as soon as we execute this simple shell script, we should get root privileges. Let's check that out. So sudo, and there's the location. Very good. So as soon as we ran it, here it is, root at Joy. So let's just go to our root directory. All right, well, there's our flag. We win, and we can move on to the next challenge.